Yes, here we go. It is that time for P.M.P. on what was a full SPFL card midweek. Always had to be a bit of a different dynamic. We were at home though, in a game we were expected to win. Our nearest title rivals were another game, which I think it'd be fair to say after Celtic scored their second goal, many flicked over to. I've just got that feeling in me, judging by Twitter and things like that, Terry, that, a lot of our fans will have switched over to what was happening at Pittodrie. Listen, both results went away at the end of the day, guys. We stayed top of the league, top of the table. And I think it's 9 points ahead of our Glasgow rivals. Still neck and neck, though, with our rivals up north. Terry, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Bhoycie. I'm good. I didn't flick over, but I just caught the last 10 minutes there after our game was finished.
Yeah, so did I.
But I was aware of what was happening. So I knew Aberdeen had took the lead and knew they'd then missed a penalty to go 2-0.
Yep.
Then Rangers got back into it. And according to the commentary I listened to just in the last 10 minutes there, Aberdeen's winner was a little bit against the run of play. But it's just it's one of those ones. Celtic supporters have kind of been at odds with each other over the last couple of days about what result they wanted in the other game because trying to work out what one is the best for us. I think ultimately,
who's the greater threat to us, isn't it? You're trying to work out who the greater threat is, aren't you?
I know. I think the song there from the Aberdeen supporters at the end there. They're playing Rangers at home, and the supporters are singing "Fuck you, Celtic, we're going to win the league." It just shows Rangers are totally irrelevant to Aberdeen. They're not even in the song. It's "Fuck you, Celtic, we're going to win the league," and Rangers, you're just innocent bystanders. And I don't know, that result's gonna. I don't even know what it does for them because they've made their announcement yesterday about their losses. They've just give this guy a new long-term deal.
Yes.
So getting rid of him is probably going to close the shop. So I don't think they can do that. So they're kind of in a bit of a pickle.
Oh, they certainly are, mate. They certainly are. Brendan Rodgers came back, and apparently it was going to be, different this time, a bigger challenge. He's probably looking at the, all the nonsense going on and thinking, fucking hell, they're in worse nick than they were last time. Do you know what I mean? At least they were, fuck knows. But anyway, we'll talk about Celtic and we'll talk about the other result tonight as well. That's what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? Okay, you can't have it just, talking about a 2-0 game, the whole time at home to Dundee. You've got to get a wee bit of needle. And I'm sure we'll cover all bases. I do understand that Super Scoreboard's on, I think, all night till 11 o'clock or something bizarre like that. So if the audience figures are slightly lower in the bus tonight, then it's perfectly understandable because I'm sure that phone-in will be funny. And to be honest, if we could do a phone-in right now for a few of those crying bears, I'd probably do one. But anyway, we can't. Anyway, do all that good stuff. Give us a like, give us a share, buy some hair, all that, carry on. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, never miss a bus. And it's 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats at piesports.com when you use the code BUS1888. Also, there are membership options for the Bhoycie Bus. It's $1.99 a month. It just helps keep the wheels on the road. It means I can, Big Terry was in receipt of a wee lift last week as a big thank you for all the hours you put in, big man. I mean that sincerely. I think this must be at least a minimum of 150th P.M.P. So, it's great that things like the membership stuff and all that works and we can, sort of have a wee nice couple of wee things off it. I'm sure yours will be going straight into Russian vodka, which I'm very proud of. Right, Terry, what changes tonight?
Yeah.
I like your take on the lineup better than mine these days. I want to know what stood out for you and what was the right and wrong calls made in it.
What stood out for me was that I heard on another well-known podcast today that Yang and Palma were starting at 12:30, which I don't understand. I don't understand how that information's out there. I thought we got rid of them all whenever the wee cleaner lady got sacked, but that was widespread.
It's rife,
that was widespread this afternoon.
Mate, it's rife. It's absolutely rife. I remember.
Not that it makes a huge difference. I just don't.
No.
I just don't get how that information gets out into the public domain. Sometimes it's right.
I'm not convinced it's something that if you get told it, that you should be then sort of broadcasting then to everyone? I mean, could only if it is going to have any impact. I know I appreciate what you're saying. It's not a big one, but see if it's going to have any impact, it'd be a negative one to us. So I would just be advising folk to keep stum if you're getting that.
I mean, going back to it, I think the interesting one for me was going to be at centre back, and I think the option that he's gone with, it still doesn't give us. I don't think it gives us a real clue as to what the strongest pairing is. I think Saturday will be that the two that he picks at centre back, that will be where he has them at the moment, his current top two. I think if Trusty had been left out tonight, that would have been a definite sign. But I think because of the amount of games that Scales has played, Carter Vickers had to get minutes if he's going to be considered for the weekend. Scales is one of those sort of ever presents, so it was an opportunity to give him a rest. So I don't read too much into that. I think the pairing on Saturday will be the strongest one. Taylor coming back in again, no real surprise. Ralston coming in for Johnson again, probably one eye on Saturday, and then also we're playing again on Tuesday. So we've a run here of quite a lot of games in a short space of time. So I think it would be unrealistic to expect a lot of those players to play all four of those games. At a high level. So I think there's always going to be a bit of rotation. Saturday it'll be straight back to what he sees as his strongest 11. Engels coming back in again, no surprise. Bernardo McGregor wasn't going to make this one. He's going to be fine for the weekend. Yang and Palma's probably the talking point, because
I'm ready to discuss that. I wonder
that's the talking point, because those guys have kind of come in from left field almost. They've been involved in squads, they've been left out of squads, but they haven't started games. So that's probably the two that raise the eyebrows out the starting lineup.
Yes, definitely. And in my starting lineup, as you can see, Paddy's decided to make him. The only time I see him is when I do the pods. This time he just hides from me, tells me to fuck off, smokes my fags, and that's about it. But whenever the pod's on, he seems to be lively in the background. I don't know why. Yes, in terms of the lineup, I totally agree that the left field picks, not the left wing picks, the left field picks, were the two wingers. Now, I think, for me personally, honestly, I must be watching a different game. Palmer cannot do right for wrong. I think his narrative was set up. I love the word narrative, Loopy. I think the narrative was set up for him from the fans before the ball's kicked. They've decided anything he does that doesn't come off is going to be absolutely exaggerated as to how bad. And any sort of waste of possession, if it were him actually trying to do something to affect an outcome, I think he is the whipping boy right now, big time. And I've always been really confused by where this all stems from. Now, it appears, Terry, with Palmer, that there was a couple of things he's posted on social media that people were pissed off with. I read them, and nothing in it would offend you whatsoever. In fact, if anything, you thought, it's a fucking good attitude, lad. You're pissed off you're not playing, but you're going to double your efforts to get in the team. That's kind of the gist of it. That's certainly not me even trying to paraphrase it, but that was the gist of it. There was no, I'm not happy with this, and fuck this, and all that, or a bad attitude coming across. Certainly not from what I read. I think, and we've discussed this many a time, there always has to be a whipping boy. Palmer, to me, keeps going, keeps trying things. I mean, there was a shot in the second half he pulls off after giving the ball away twice about 5 minutes before that. But see, when he's giving the ball away, these are what would then be key passes if they come off. Not just normal ones. These are like potential assists that aren't maybe finding their man. It's not as black and white. I think he was used as an outlet. I think we've had in the chat already a comment saying, I was getting bored to tears or bored to sleep with how often we looked for Palmer. But what does that tell you, Terry? And when it comes to the Yang one, I feel, for me personally, that's way more left field, bringing him into the team than a Louis Palmer. And I thought the team played like that. But Yang wasn't the go-to at any point. Yet I was shocked that he was the one that lasted longer in the park. Of course, he will claim his assist, and some cross, mate. Some fucking cross. Deflected into Alistair Johnson's path, who stabs it home. For me personally, I would rather have had Palmer's display. I thought his effort at winning the ball back, his physicality at times was very good as well. And yeah, the end product's not always there, but he keeps going. He's going to be involved in the outcomes. Yang, I'm not sure what he does, albeit the assist is laced with fortune, right? It's a deflected assist. It's not a great ball by any stretch. What was his involvement other than that? And yes, to go back to your original point, where have these selections come from? Well, the Palmer one tells me that whatever reputation he's building up of being this terrible trainer and, a bad attitude or whatever, doesn't seem to be getting reflected because he was brought on as well recently by Rodgers as well. I think it was against Atalanta he came on, did he not? Yeah, he did. So that's Champions League stuff. So I don't think that one fits. The Yang one seemed to come out of nowhere, but maybe I'm just a wee bit biased because I've preferred a guy who might frustrate but will provide you with numbers against the guy I just don't see at Celtic's level whatsoever. But he started both today. It was high risk, but as you say, with the congested fixtures coming up, we can kind of get it.
Yeah, Palmer, whilst not everything comes off, he does always look threatening. And he does always look as if he is possibly going to create something. And he was trusted, as you said, to bring on for the last 15 minutes against Atlanta. And I think that was quite telling because we were obviously on the way towards an excellent result. And I think one of the criticisms of Palmer that I think has been sort of made towards him is that he doesn't offer a great deal of protection on that side. So he's the type of player, he comes alive when he's got the ball, but when he doesn't have the ball, he couldn't always be relied upon to track back and do the dirty work. Maybe not, nobody's going to do it to the level of Maeda, but I think the feeling was that he didn't do enough on the defensive side to lend any protection. So I felt that bringing him on in that Atlanta game was two things. It was kind of a risk reward because he does have the potential to pull a rabbit out of the hat. But even in that 15-minute cameo that he had, his work rate was good, and he did do the part of the game that he'd previously been criticised for not doing. And I think tonight you could see that as well. He was busy. He was
big time, mate.
He never shirked. He was always willing to take the ball. If things didn't come off, he didn't go and hide. He wanted to get the ball again, and he tried to make things happen. And there's other players in the team, and they try to make things happen. And when they don't happen, that's regarded as, well, he's trying to do something. But when Palmer does it, it almost generates the groans.
Here's a great question for you, Terry, and I thought this right at the end of the game. That header that Maeda misses, we just tut and go, what's he like? Palmer misses that header. That is not how that gets reacted to.
But there was another one Maeda hit with his left foot. It just went out near the corner flag, and it was just like, yeah.
But Palmer plays a key pass a yard away from its attempted target, and even the reaction when he came off, I thought was pretty poor.
Yeah,
but yeah, it seems to be different rules for certain players, and by the way, we've discussed this, as I say, on the channel for the last 3 years nearly now. There always is a guy who's the whipping boy at one point. They just pass the baton around, and right now it is Lewis Palmer. There's just no getting away from it. For me, Yang is a far more bizarre inclusion in the team when Forrest is sitting on the bench. If we're going to be making changes with a hectic schedule, that's okay, but then your obvious change is Forrest, surely.
But the bit that confused me was he makes the 3 changes, and then 3 minutes later he makes another one. So what's changed? And in that 3 minutes, Yang's got he's got an assist, and then he gets hooked. And I've been consistent. There is something in Yang that I like, and I think it's just he's one of those wingers when he gets the ball, he wants to face his fullback up and he wants to take him on, and that's kind of an old school winger. But I totally agree with you. In terms of output, he will get the assist for that tonight, but he just doesn't look like creating chances or scoring goals. He looks like he can go on a run and maybe beat one man, beat another man, but then the end product's not there. I think Yang's chance maybe came and gone when he was having that little run on the side last year before he got that red card, where he 3, 4, 5 games, where he was actually becoming the go-to guy. Going into that game against Hearts, he was the guy we were feeding the ball. He was. I'm telling you now, he was, Bhoycie. He was coming onto a game.
The go-to guy.
Yeah.
I must have been on it big time those weekends, mate. I can't remember any.
The game against Dundee, where we absolutely battered them, and he gave the young lad that was linked with Celtic, he gave him the run around, Owen Beck. Yang went through a period of about 3, 4, 5 games, and it culminated in that
3, 4, 5.
It was. I can't remember exactly, but he was coming onto a game, and then he got that red card against Hearts, and then he came on as a sub against Rangers, and was at fault for Matondo's goal, and he wasn't seen again until tonight.
I know, but you know what? See with the other thing with the starting lineup, Terry. Not to dwell on it too long. I know people will be, want to go to their beds and all that, but their midfield was really looking like it was interesting to see that midfield in terms of personnel had a real freshness about it, and I sort of, this is Celtic under Rodgers' second time 2.0 almost, where you're seeing McCowan, Engels, and Bernardo now, who I think is developing at a hell of a pace now. We've had McCowan, who's made an electric start to his career, and we've got a record signing in there. No Kalmak, no Atati, and obviously Matt already left in the summer. It did feel like there's a wee glimpse into what could potentially be, I don't know, in a year's time, your first choice midfield. Maybe 2 years down the line, your first choice midfield. I know players come and go, like the wind, so it might not be like that. But it certainly felt of a new era about it, that midfield trio, didn't it? Because you're so accustomed to Kalmak being in there, and then the likes of Atati, who's been a mainstay in the side when fit, being on the bench, and preferred for these two new guys that have came in. And Bernard, well, all three effectively were signed on permanent deals this summer. It had a youthful, energetic look about it. If ever there was games where we could make these sort of decisions, tonight's got to be one of them, Terry. And I think we need to roll with the punches as a support base at times as well and go, that's fucking, you've took out, see when you take out Kalmak from that Celtic side and you've got three younger players, I know McCowan maybe not so much, but he's a new boy. And then it's two really young midfielders in there as well, with two wingers that you don't normally play. You're going to roll with the punches a wee bit here. And Celtic were still creating gilt-edged chances for their killer striker. It's just that they didn't happen. That's what's occurred tonight. But I think there should be a wee bit more encouragement, to be honest with you, going, right, actually look at the optics here of that team. That looks a far, far cry from what was a recognisable side over Angie's period and Brendan's first season. There's a lot of change in there, and players starting matches for the first time as a combination. And I think there has to be a wee bit of patience that when it gets to half time and it's 0-0, but had Kyogo done what he would normally do, the killer that he is, he would have, if he'd buried a couple of chances, that's 2-0 at half time, we're all laughing. Do you know what I mean? And saying, fucking hell, how great a glimpse into the future was that? Instead, I think there's a wee bit, sorry, very quickly, I think there's a wee bit too ratty at times, Celtic fans, a wee bit of impatience. And I just think that actually these young guys deserve a wee bit more encouragement and less of the sort of bedwetting sort of behaviour going on by half time. How shite we always are, because that's not what was. It was never going to be as straightforward as what it would normally be, where it's almost new look sort of side there. Centre half pairing, by the way, starting the first game together as well. It was 0-0 at half time, and we had the best chances. That's not catastrophe levels yet, mate. You know what I mean?
Kyogo's missed 2 sitters in the first 6 minutes. You could have been 2-0 up in 6 minutes, and then it becomes similar to the game against Dundee last year. You're running up whatever score you want. Just some games that you just don't get the breakthrough, and the longer the game goes on, the more belief the other team gets. A wee bit like us away in Atlanta. You ride it out. You ride it out in the early stages, and you start to get a bit of belief, and then it becomes a bit harder, and the away team starts to maybe feed off the nervousness that they get coming in from the stands. But Phil and myself were talking on Sunday, the strength and depth that we've got now with the signings that we've made during the summer, albeit I'm still not convinced that we improved our starting 11. But the strength and depth that we've now got means that a McGregor and a Carter Vickers being absent isn't the same hammer blow as it was in previous seasons.
Imagine last season.
We had both of them missing. Essentially in that game at the weekend there. And usually when Carter Vickers has been missing, we've struggled. When McGregor's been missing, we've struggled. We've had now a period where both of them were out in a game, and you've got confidence, you've got a bit of reassurance, albeit that reassurance.
And a bit of intrigue, by the way, which I think is really important. Intrigue.
Yeah, let's see a different combination here and see what that looks like. And McKeown gave him an opportunity to play a game from the start. Thought he was good in the first half, faded out a little bit. Engels is going to be hit and miss. He's not going to be consistent 8s and 9s out of 10s. He's too young a player for that. We've
liked what I've seen in many aspects though, Terry.
Well, that run for the penalty was superb. And I just think there's obviously going to be so much more to come from him. They're all playing quite well at the minute, Bhoycie. All of those midfield players. There's none of them. I mean, you'd probably say Hitate's maybe the one that's out of form, but he's not even been that bad, if you know what I mean. I think
totally agree with you.
You're just looking. Again, I mean, come Saturday, I think he'll revert to type, and I think it'll be McGregor, Engels, and Hitate again. But in any domestic game, I wouldn't have any issue with any combination of those sort of 5 midfielders playing.
Yeah, which is amazing because you look at last year and you go, that would have been like, who would have been in midfield then? Thiago Holm coming in and
Iwata.
Yeah, that's it. Bang on. Now, I know Iwata's Waldies for Birmingham will be getting,
James
retweeted left, right, and centre, but yeah, it's like fucking fuck off, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's definitely far more intriguing the midfield we've got right now. And as I said, I just call for a wee bit of patience sometimes. I think there was a comment that came in from someone McGlone. I think it was. I can't remember his first name. Peter McGlone.
I thought Ralston was wasteful tonight, Bhoycie. He's not had much of a chance.
Who, sorry?
Ralston. I thought he was quite wasteful.
Nah.
Going forward, some of his crosses were grossly overhit. I know it's difficult for him because he's not.
What was the last run of games he's had? The Euros.
He's had not much game time.
I think the Euros, mate, out with it in the last since Rodgers came back, the Euros is probably his best run of games. For Scotland.
Well, it is, and it's very difficult for
3 games in a row.
It's very difficult for any of those lads who are only coming in once every 5 or 6 weeks or 2 months, and that's their chance, and they've got that one opportunity to take it. And if they don't, they'll probably not get another one for the same length of time again. So it's very, very difficult, and they're going to be rusty. They're going to be rusty. So it's a difficult one.
Talk to me how you felt then at half time. If I'm calling out those who were maybe a wee bit over negative, I think when I see it on social media, we're fucking awful, we're this, we're that. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, calm down. How were you feeling when the second half begins? Did you think we're going to see an upturn in fortunes here? I was zen. That's the honest truth, that this is just a matter of time before we win the game. Like David Kelly's came into the chat, and great to have you on the bus as always, David. And he's saying, we could have won the game by 4 or 5. Tonight was fine. Sometimes an element of entitled. I think he's got a point there. I wasn't feeling that frustration that seemed to be the vibe amongst many fans, and of course everyone's entitled to their view. I felt rather confident that we would go out and get the goals required in the second half if we carried on playing like we were. And I expected probably a slight increase in intensity after talking to the manager. Pretty much what we got, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't tend to get too bothered till around about the 70. Once you get to the 70th minute, I think when you've got 20 minutes left and the other team will undoubtedly have grown in confidence, and there will undoubtedly by that stage be nervousness from the supporters making its way into the Celtic play, and there's a chance at that stage that they'll be able to dig out a result, and maybe even get a breakaway towards the end if Celtic are starting to go a bit gung-ho. But until we got to that point, I was comfortable, and I knew that we still had plenty in reserve on the bench that we could bring on. I thought Johnson would come on. Didn't expect him to score a game. That's 4 this season. I wasn't expecting him to score a game, but I think you could almost predict who was going to come on.
How much has he improved this year from last season's display so far? Because he seems to be back to what he was doing in the first 5 months. I know that's a really lazy way of describing it without any sort of stats to back up other than the 4 goals increase. But it does feel his level of performance overall has went up. And see if there are leadership groups at modern football clubs, right, which I'm guessing Celtic will have something like. I wonder if being a part of that and that increased responsibility maybe helps manifest better performances. He didn't seem like the same guy last year that we were all kind of saying was an upgrade on Juranovic based on his first few months when he joined. I certainly think now you're looking at the Alistair Johnson I was expecting last season, but we're certainly getting him this year.
I think the goals help though, because obviously he's just becoming a bit more prominent, and I think the goals are a result of him taking up a lot more advanced positions. I felt there was quite a. I think he probably is. felt there was quite a. Felt last year he didn't get forward anywhere nearly as much as Taylor did on the other side. Thought Taylor was involved a lot more from an attacking sense, and I felt that Johnson was almost more than happy to be a sitting fullback and allow Taylor to be the one that pushed on and allow a lot of the attacks to be built down the left. But he's definitely getting forward a lot more. That's manifesting itself in important goals for us. The goal we scored at the weekend was sort of the epitome of the attacking fullbacks, because it was a cross from Baye finished by Johnson with a cracking header. So I think that's a marked difference. He's definitely getting himself into more advanced positions, and defensively he's been sound. Other than the Dortmund match, where I think everybody struggled, there hasn't really been any glaring mistakes or anything that he's made. So he looks a real solid option. He's obviously number 3 now in command in terms of the captain's armband, which I think given the fact that he's not been with the club that long, that he probably does take a lot of pride in that and sees that as an honour, in the fact that you've got somebody like James Forrest who's been there his whole career. You've got Kasper Schmeichel who has played top level for most of his career, but Alistair Johnson's been trusted after McGregor and Carter Vickers as being the next guy to wear the armband. So yeah, he's probably playing as well as he has done at any stage since he joined us, and he was very good at the start.
He certainly was. He gets that goal, as we say. We've discussed obviously the fortunate assist that Yang got. Great finish though. He's followed. It's Johnson who plays the ball to Yang, carries on, follows up his run into the box, and tidy finish. We get the goal in front, and we bury the game with the penalty. Any question marks over the penalty, Terry? If you were,
when I first seen it, I thought,
the usual question is, would you be annoyed if it was the other way around? And would you be claiming that Ingles made a foul, or did he win the ball fairly?
Well, I didn't get a second look at Engels' challenge. It did. When he
showed it from a distance, didn't it? Didn't really.
When he made it, I expected a free kick to be given. That's probably what I would say about it. But I haven't seen it again and close enough to make any call on it. I thought Kyogo didn't need a lot of persuasion to go down, but when you see it from behind, it's an obvious one.
He knows exactly how to fall.
It's soft, but
he knows how to do the fall, Kyogo. I mean, that's part of his makeup as a striker. Let's be honest, as he exaggerates falls. I mean, there's no getting away from it. He's done it. 100%. He's done it many a time. You remember the pattern in the head thing he was rolling about there. He's known how to do the spin. It just added authenticity to the pull on the jersey that was made. But notwithstanding all that, it's a fucking penalty anyway. So happy days. And I think there has to be an element of it where you go, sometimes a striker has to do these things to ensure that it's spied, to ensure that it's noticed, to put any doubt beyond measure. So it's not because we're entering into calling him a cheat or anything like that. What I mean is, I think he's got to highlight the pull in the jersey by sort of doing that sort of spinning fall like he did. Although, albeit, none of us have ever been able to run at the pace of Kyogo in our lives, let alone now. And maybe when you're going at that impact, one wee slight tug in the jersey can make you go down that fast, albeit I'm sceptical. I thought it was a penalty still, regardless of all that. Engel steps up, gives the goalie the eyes, strokes it home, 2-0, and that's it. It's game, set, match by then. And I think that's when you turn your attention to what's going on elsewhere. Because at this point, Aberdeen, it sounded like, from the old Twitterati, that they dominated the first half. But by the time you're checking the score, it's 1-1, and you're going, what the fuck's happened there? Thought Aberdeen were pumping them. They had a penalty, I think they missed as well. And then suddenly the game is 1-1. That's when you know there's still slightly, and I know we can have a laugh about it on the channel, but there is still slightly, I think, more of a threat, inverted commas, by the way, because I don't think there is much of a threat to Celtic with retaining the league title for the 4th season in a row this year. But I think, you know, in the fact that the whole stadium seemed to cheer when Aberdeen went back in front, so that told the story as well. You were saying earlier about the fans at Pittodrie. It told the story that they were aiming things at us. I think it tells a story that we're not. Whilst Aberdeen are considered maybe Rangers are relevant, I think there's still a wee case of Aberdeen not being quite on everyone's radar yet, considering we're still cheering when they go in front, despite the fact they're still leveling points with us and hanging tough so far. That's a bit of a slap in the face to them. Fuck it. Good. You want to be our title rivals? This is what comes with the territory. And I thought it was interesting that goal was cheered so much. That still tells me that the majority of fans would still think over 38 games that if either side's going to be closer to us, it'd be Rangers. I'm probably not in that camp right now. And that might be recency bias, just, you know. But from what I've seen of both sides, limited albeit, Aberdeen do look a far better side than them. That win, though, takes them, Terry, to this incredible record that they've got in the league right now, which is now George Billy Hearts territory. Is that played 10-1-9? Drawn 1? Is
that 10 league games? Is that the first round of fixtures done?
No, because it'd be 11 to be the first round of fixtures, but I think it's 10. I think we've played 10. And I think it's quite incredible that they've hung fire that much, and it gives us then the meltdown, obviously across the city, which we all love. But you touched on it earlier as well, going, this result I thought was inevitable tonight, footballing wise. Then when they released those books things and all that fucking yesterday, you thought, oh shit, they're definitely getting beat tomorrow night. It all adds to it. In a league where they're utter shite, in Europe where they don't qualify for the big competitions, they still are. I think someone posted they still lose 48 grand a day. £48,000 a day is that's just what goes out the till, mate. They're miles off it.
10 games played.
10 games, 9 wins, 1 draw. Celtic and Aberdeen. Rangers are now 9 points behind. Is it time to start going, okay, we've cheered Aberdeen's scoreline there, careful what you wish for? Or is it a case of naturally they are going to fall away eventually? They might still finish second, but in terms of an actual title challenge, is it something we need to take more seriously? I'm not sure, but I think it's always fair to say after what is nearly, and if they were to win the next game, a first round of fixtures, they played every team in the league. So no one can talk about easy starts, etc., because you can only play what's in front of you. We also, Terry, remember, faced them at the weekend in a League Cup semi-final. So, again, when I say careful what you wish for, is there an element of, well, they couldn't go into it with more confidence than what they currently have because they've just beat their second place rivals, if you want to call it that, or their nearest rivals, their potential nearest rivals in the league for whatever. They've just beat them at home under a lot of pressure. They go in to the weekend against us. They could not be in a better place. Am I right?
Yeah, you probably are. I just think massive respect to them and what they've achieved, because they were in the doldrums last year and they lost their talisman Miovski, and I did a show with Big Conor, and I probably owe him an apology because he did foresee a scenario where Rangers might struggle to get second, and I just couldn't see any scenario where that would be possible. And now I think it is very possible, just again based on what I've seen, and just the run of results Aberdeen have got, and the fact that they've scored late goals in a few games, that shows a real quality where they're prepared to fight to the end. And momentum is a massive thing in football, and nobody will forget the Leicester City season. Like, how on earth did that happen? And it was kind of like they got off to a reasonable start, but they fall away. Then they didn't fall away. Then they didn't fall away. Then they didn't fall away. Then all of a sudden they started to believe. And then all of a sudden you had a 5,000-1 team winning the EPL against one of the strongest Man City teams of you know.
I know.
So we're still in the early stages. We're still in the very early stages.
Yes.
I'm absolutely relishing what Aberdeen are doing. I think it's fantastic. I am more than happy for them to engage in a title race with us.
When you say more than happy to engage in a title race, though, is there an element where fans could be watching us and going, does it get any more condescending than that? Is there an element of going, I'm happy. I'm happy for a challenge to a title, because what you essentially, there's a bit you saying is, because I don't think they'll fucking win it. But they're like,
I don't think they'll win it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I don't think they'll win it. I don't think they'll win it. But I would like there to be a challenge, and for us to overcome that challenge. I think that's where I wanted to be. I know what you mean. Put it like this. If it wasn't for Aberdeen at the minute, it could be a long league season if it's done by the end of November. Do you know what I mean? And it's not going to be this season. And I'm not totally writing off Rangers either, by the way, because we were round about this points clear.
Well, we 8 points clear this time last year.
Round about 8, and we found a way to make it interesting. I don't think that'll happen this year. I don't think we'll fritter away points in the same way as we did last year. But
do you remember that time, Terry? I predicted that we'd finish the league the same amount of points clear as what we were. Remember?
No.
Oh, fucking some shout that was. Proud of myself with that one. This year, the reason I'm saying that very quickly is the reason I'm saying that, Terry, is because I'm looking at the 9-point gap we've got with Rangers right now, and it's not that I think we'll finish the league 9 points clear. I only see it extending. There's someone said in the chat there's 17.2 million reasons why the Dons will finish second, and it's likely they'll sell a player in January. Probably Butland, who's one of the best players, who's an asset, I would guess, for probably half the price that they should be. And you look at the gap right now. They're not going to be able to actually afford to sack the manager to influence some sort of change like they normally do year on year, because they renewed his deal in the summer. I can't help but feel that the 9-point gap with Rangers, regardless of Aberdeen's fortune and all this, or favour and all this, I think the gap between us and Rangers will increase by the end of the season. It will be more than 9 points that we win the league over them.
Based on everything we've seen in the first quarter, you can't predict anything different. And I don't think any Rangers fan would predict anything different either, to be honest. But I think going back to your question about Aberdeen being in a great place going into Saturday, yeah, absolutely they are. But I'll tell you what, it makes for one hell of an exciting game. And I think the fact that there's a result on the day, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I can't wait for it now. It's the biggest game in Scottish football, you have to say, right now. Celtic and Aberdeen on a neutral ground in a cup semi-final. Bring it on. Really, really, really looking forward to it. On Saturday or Sunday? We're Saturday 5:30, so we're getting the first game. We're getting the first game, which means we'll have the pitch in the better state. It's usually quite cut up.
Yeah, that's good. That'll be a cracker. Saturday evening. That's perfect.
Saturday evening, you've plenty of time to get a few bevies and stuff during the day. Enjoy the game in the evening. come on here and we'll win, lose, or well, I was going to say win, lose, or draw. Win or lose, we'll chew the fat on it. But no, I think it'll be a cracking game. I do expect Celtic to win. I think we'll step it up. I think we'll inflict the first defeat of the season on Aberdeen. I think that'll be us into a final, and then we'll just wait and see who gets through on Sunday in what now probably becomes a toss of a coin match between Rangers and Motherwell, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know what to expect from them. It's an interesting one to see. The league is so mad sometimes here. I feel like we overreact to it. I was thinking this during the game, right? I was like, it's quite a strange gig being at Celtic, either as a player or as a manager. The expectation, of course, is to win every game that you play in domestically and hopefully make strides in Europe. But when see after 45 minutes, the critiques, the criticism is flying about, Terry. Let's be real. Flying about the side overall and all this stuff when you've made an unbeaten domestic start to the campaign. It's difficult to find a happy medium there where if the league becomes competitive, that'll all be Celtic's fault. If we win the league at a canter, it's because there's no challenge. They've had it easy. The players, it's quite difficult to see how they evade some sort of inevitable annoyance unless it is, which I've pointed to the whole way, some sort of European strides, some sort of European statement. It is what's needed, and the reason for that is I think domestically they're in no man's land now, Celtic, in terms of, well, it's a better land to be in than anyone else, but I think it's almost like
it's a bit of a no-win.
Yeah, no-win. That's again. I don't know why I was struggling to say that. It's a no-win situation where you win the league. Right, well done, expected.
Yeah,
you fucking draw. You're drawn at half time. You're shite.
I know. I think. But here's the thing, Bhoycie, as well. Perhaps that Aberdeen game that we had before the Atlanta game was the perfect prep game for going away and playing against that team, because that was our toughest game of the season, and we had that just before the game against Atlanta. I think what needs to happen is we need to prioritize the Champions League. We need to prioritize making progress, and making progress for me is getting out of this first phase, and we're in a decent position to do that. I think that gets priority now over domestic matches. That said, our next Champions League game comes after the game against Aberdeen at the weekend, and I still fully expect us to play our strongest 11 in both matches. Whereas if you were perhaps prioritising the Champions League, you would maybe use Saturday as an opportunity to rest players for the Champions League game. But I fully expect us to go full strength in both games.
Yep, I hear you there, mate. I think that'll be
full strength probably. Again, with the strength and depth that we've had, full strength.
That's a couple of variables.
Full strength, maybe, it's maybe not the right terminology, because full strength doesn't necessarily mean an exact 11, although I do have an 11 that I think he'd pick on Saturday, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't, because I think that's his strongest 11. But, there's 3 or 4 options there now that doesn't really weaken the side.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Anyway, we're going to call it there. That's 45 minutes. Thanks to everyone who's watched. Just over 100 watching live right now. Really appreciate it. I know with the Super Scoreboard phoning on the back of Rangers falling further behind us and us getting a win.
I think the Rangers pods will be getting a bit of bigger numbers tonight too.
Yeah. I think a few of our members are maybe even over there right now, Terry. You know that? Probably donating as well over there. Can't stay on air forever. It's all part and parcel of it. It's been a very good night at the end of the day. Celtic and Aberdeen still remain neck and neck in the title race. Rangers fall further behind. That's okay to me. Roll on the Cup semi-final, and I will see you Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow, though, with the judge for some TNF. But Saturday evening, Terry. Look forward to seeing you then, my man. And thanks again for tonight.
Okay, cheers, everyone. See ya.